Hi, friends. My name is Bhavya Mangla. I welcome you again in the 32nd episode of Unfiltered Conversation. You know that this series is going on with the objective that we are going to talk to people to understand their perspective of different aspects of life. We started this series in the beginning when we were talking about the presentation skills. Later on, we dived into another aspect with respect to the mindfulness. Then we had a long series with respect to the people who are writing the book, what is their experience, what are their thoughts, what are their challenges about that. Now, this particular series, which is going on, is more with respect to the professionals, understanding their competence, understanding that how they are contributing to the society and the industry, and what we can learn from them. So today I have a very, very interesting guest. His name is Mr. Rodriguez, or I can say Mr. Agnelo Rodriguez, with a solid experience of more than 34 years. He has been to different kind of industries, and for the last 4 years, he has set up his own organization in the name of Inspire, wherein he's working as a facilitator. And the role of facilitator is that to help the companies or the organizations or maybe the individuals to learn from their own experience, and he's just facilitating them. He's not trying to tell them what is right and wrong, but he's telling them that how to find out something good or interesting in ourselves. I met him around 2 months back in one of the facilitating session, and I really enjoyed that particular session. I thought that he's the right person to be introduced to the audience, and people should be aware about that, what kind of things he's doing. So Agnello, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Bhavya. Quite overwhelmed by the introduction that you gave, but yes, thank you so much, and congratulations on your 32nd episode. Says a lot.
So Agnello, this particular topic, authenticity, leading from the heart, it seems to be a very intriguing topic. I'm sure that many people will not be able to understand that what exactly is the meaning of authenticity, what exactly is the meaning of leading from the heart. So can you tell a little bit more about it? What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, as you say, leading from the heart, and you rightly said, maybe to an extent, I may not agree to one aspect which you said that a lot of people may not understand what is leading from the heart. Actually, a lot of people do understand what means leading from the heart. And today, thanks to the internet, the know-how, LinkedIn is a beautiful platform for all of us to engage on, and the word authenticity, leading from the heart, is really not new to a lot of us, and actually many of us. The question arises that how much do we execute it? That
Mhm.
is the bigger question, and that probably is where we are leading at. And that is one aspect which is very close to my heart. Fortunately, for me, I've been blessed. I started, as a leader at a very young age when I was into direct sales, and I actually learned about attitude and leading by example in different forms, not really in these words, but really performing, doing well, and because other people look at you and other people image you, copy you, get influenced by you. So how you walk, how you talk, how you lead, how you listen, how you empathize, makes a big difference. Uh, Having said that, but today, of course, I'm in a position where I've been introduced by these words. I've been introduced by the beautiful frameworks, which now even I facilitate. And in my facilitation sessions, I get to learn a lot, like from you as well. Also, I remember our 2 days that we spent in that session. You were the most high energy, energetic person out there, and I learned so much along with you. And like that, I think in all my sessions we pick up so many things. But coming back to my early days of my career, this is where I learned and things happened. Having said that, there was a lot of failures. There was a lot of things that happened, a lot of decision makings that I used to do, sometimes in an emotional context, sometimes in a very aggressive, perspective, which didn't go too well. But I think these are the aspects of life that actually teaches us. These little failures, these little experiences that we go through, how we are treated, we feel the pain, and then once you understand that, then you understand that how my people also would be feeling. So it becomes like a kind of a mirror image. So these were my school days of thoughts and how I learned and how I navigated myself. And there came a time where I think I took a conscious decision and I said, this is what I need to do, because working in different diverse organizations, like how you introduced me into, from institutional sales to corporate sales to door-to-door marketing, automobiles, services, facilities management, events and exhibition, the gas industry. I saw one trend out there, and something which was a little bit disturbing as well, because like I said, at the early age, I came up from a very different perspective. Then I used to see a lot of leaders, not really leading with empathy, not really leading
Mhm.
with authenticity. So they used to project something else, they used to say something else. Somewhere down the line, they were not living the message that they were speaking. And,
Mhm.
even couple of leaders, even I was also blessed with some great leaders. So along the journey, I thought, okay, I think this is something that I really need to focus on. And I really need to, if I can even add value to even one person, I think it'll be a change that I can make, and hence I came up with my name as Inspire, make a
Mhm.
difference, adding value to each person each day.
And when we talk about authenticity, especially with respect to the leaders, what you're trying to say is that you have seen many leaders who have been very authentic and they're leading from the front. And you have also seen many leaders who are saying something but actually doing something different. And as per you, that when they are not authentic, then it is creating some problem somewhere. But I think you must have also seen that all these leaders who may not be authentic, they are also very popular or they are very successful also. So how it is so that if you are not authentic but still you're successful, and when you're successful then you feel that okay, this is the recipe which we can go ahead with that.
True, true, true. Thank you so much for bringing that up. In fact, that's a very valid, question, and in fact, that's the question that actually stems in a lot of people. I have been into situations, and I've seen some of the leaders, who have been, very, very successful in their own aggression mode, in their own aggressive style, and their directive leadership actually helped us a lot to stem what we also sometimes call as difficult managers. Well, it's a way of looking at it. It's when you look at somebody, maybe a difficult manager, and you've gone through different experiences. There are two ways of looking at it. One is you can say that you start judging that person, and another
Mhm.
aspect is say that what can I learn from that person? What is that one good thing that the person has to offer that I can take and I can replicate? Because at the end of the day, leadership is has its own different quadrants as well. You have a directive leadership, you have an emotive leadership, you have a reflective leadership, you also have a supportive leadership. And in all these four different quadrants, all leaders, and when I say leaders, I don't mean to say leaders by position. I mean to say leaders. In any case, all of us are leading. Even at home, we are leading somewhere or the other, with our guy who's coming to clean the car, or the maids in our house. So even there also, we all are leading. So when you have all these different types of leadership traits that we have, all of us are wired. All of us have our strength zones. All of us have our experiences from where we are coming, and hence we are bent more towards that way. That doesn't mean to say that that leader is bad, good. Just it just shows that how well the leader is navigating through the whole process in different situations, and that's when situational leadership also creeps in. How am I leading in different situations? How am I leading with different people? Because all my team members are not alike. They all are going to be different. They all are going to be carrying different strength zones. How do I understand them? How do I listen to them? To another guy who I can be a little bit hard and I have to train and I have to handle in a proper manner. I have another higher guy who's pretty good, who I can now probably afford to even delegate. When do
Mhm.
I do that? At which stage do I do that? If I start hand holding the guy who I'm delegating, and I start micromanaging him, and I start being very aggressive to him, I probably will spoil the apple cart. So how do I balance it out? That is the most important question. So when we meet authentic leaders, there is something that they leave behind you. There is a very big word that comes across, and that is known as trust.
Hmm.
And that trust, I think, is something which takes people along the way in a very, very, along the journey in the longer sense, in the, what we
Hmm.
call distance, And we all have know that, people don't leave organizations, people leave people.
Yeah.
I've had people who have also followed me wherever I've gone. I have followed a lot of my leaders. I can still remember a few of my leaders who I've worked with very, very, very closely, and the smallest of things, including of writing an email and how to being courteous in an email, those little small things, but those small things have made such a huge impact in my life. And this is what we really need to pick on. Yes, along the journey we'll get different types of people. Yes, either we can stand and we can judge, or we can say, what is in it that I can learn from this person? What is it that I can take? What is it that I can hold? And what is it I can pass on down the line?
So if we say that some leaders are very authentic and some are not authentic, they are saying something and they are doing something. How does it matter to them, or how does it matter to the people to whom they are leading? Does it make any difference to that, or does it make any difference to all those people who are going to the future leaders who are seeing that particular person? Means in what way they learn right thing or wrong thing? Because everyone thinks that whichever way I am doing is the right way and this is the only way. So why do you want to judge that? Like you use the word judge, that whether I'm doing it right or wrong, because maybe for them that is the right thing to do. That is a definition of authentic for them.
True, true, true. And because, as you rightly said, because people do what people see at the end of the day. There was a Harvard Business Review, in fact, study found out that about 37 of employees, felt that their leaders really don't reflect genuine values and behaviors. And I'm bringing this word of their values and behaviors. There was also a study by Gallup, and they suggested that about 18% of employees strongly agree that their organization's leadership models authenticity. And we all may have heard about this. It said that at the end of the day, organizations rise and fall on leadership. And when we are in a position, when we are building a psychological safe space for our people to open up and to speak to us, you know, uh, one person may look at a person who's probably not leading very authentically, and you may be having that thought in your head that well, he's if he's leading, and if the results are great, so what, who cares, let the results be great. I would strongly suggest as well, that if the results are working and if people don't have any problem and the organization's culture is like that, so be it, no problem. But in the long run, will it sustain? I'm not too sure, because at the end of the day, authenticity cannot be guaranteed. Definitely not. But lack
Any
of
example
authenticity.
from your past experience which you would like to share, wherein you have seen, maybe with respect to authentic leadership, who are actually leading from the heart, or maybe those people who are just showing off, but actually they have some, say, double standard, and how the company has fared in the long term, or how the people have responded in the long term? Any experience which you like to share about that? Maybe without naming the company or people.
Yes, 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 absolutely. I will not name people, not name company as well, because at the end of the day, like I said, I've learned a lot from those people as well. Oh, also, when without talking about them, I'll actually talk about myself.
Great.
And as much as, like I said, that I learned about how to lead from the heart in the very beginning itself, with empathy and listening and all that, but somewhere down the line, even we make mistakes, and not once but a couple of times as well also. And sometimes it's a crisis situation, sometimes it's an emotional situation, that we lead the wrong way. And even I have been in a position where I have even tried to fake it, because I'm not being vulnerable enough for people to, I have the thought process in my head that if I become vulnerable, people will
Mm.
see the reality, people will see the real self. So I try to mask it. And the minute I try to mask it, people at the other end of the side, don't really give in good results. trust value starts dipping down. And as much as I can mask it, believe me, our people have already seen it. Just because I'm not voicing it out, just because I'm not saying the real truth, doesn't mean to say that my people have not seen the truth. The day I reveal the truth and the day I say that I made a mistake, people will say, "Oh, thank God, he's realized it now." Our people have
Mhm.
already seen it before we know it. So it's better that we be vulnerable, we share, and if we've made a mistake and if we've understood that this is how it is, and we admit our mistakes, because at the end of the day, we all are humans and we all can
Mhm.
be, as transparent as possible and be as vulnerable as possible. That
Mhm.
builds trust. That's when our people start looking at us and they say, okay, here is my leader, who understands that he is also human and he can also make mistakes, and this is what I want to mirror.
Mhm.
So as much as we can say that authentic leadership works, somewhere down the line it fails. Somewhere down the line it fails. Definitely.
So when we say authentic, and we are using this word again and again many times, it means that whatever is the situation that we are facing, we have to tell the people. Or if we are feeling pressure, so rather than keeping it with ourselves, we have to tell to our team. Or maybe in case we are in a crisis situation and we know that there can be some hard decision that needs to be taken, we are communicating to the people. What exactly authenticity means?
Authenticity, of course, if we go by the word itself, it's basically just leading from within. It's about your own values, it's about your own beliefs, it's about your own behaviors. You know, uh, when I look at my father, and I look at my father, and a lot of people, and even I personally thought that sometimes, he had a certain principles, and he would never compromise on those values, on those principles. He was a person just like that. That time, I used to use a word for my father. I used to say how egoistic he is. Why should he be so egoistic? But when I used to hear it from my friends, from my neighbors, from close people who used to meet my father, they used to have a very different perception. They used to say, "Wow, what a fine gentleman he is." I mean, he doesn't bow down to any of his values. He's like very protected around his values and he don't compromise on that. That is one good thing I like about your father. I think that
Mhm.
one thing really stuck with me. That how in all that space of whatever you achieve in life, how do you still remain grounded? How do you still
Mhm.
remain leading from within? Because one you have is an outer self, which is our personality. But one you have is self, which is your character, which stems from within. And
Mhm.
if you
Mhm.
can focus on that inner side of yours, because that is the real side, automatically the outer shell, which is our personality, also spells good. I can dress well. I can have blacken my beard. If you can see right now, it's natural dye. But it really doesn't matter. So if I am different from inside, sooner or the other, the real truth about me will be revealed, and then people,
Mhm.
as much as people will they have to follow me and they have no choice and they will do it, they will. But the real question is, do they really want to follow me? Probably given a choice, they may not want to follow me, they may want to go away somewhere else. So for that point of
Mhm.
time, it may all look good, it may all look hunky dory, and I'll be very gungu about it, but the real picture is probably something else. For me, it doesn't matter. And authenticity, it really doesn't matter about you. What matters is about the other person.
Mhm.
Bhavi, I'll give you a little example. Like
Yeah.
when we connected and we were trying to get hold of this whole thing and getting it proper, and we understanding what is the message that we want to land. I like one thing about you. You're very particular of how we need to navigate this whole little 30 minutes of ours, because your intention towards this podcast is very, very genuine. You want to reach out to maximum number of people, and in that whole process, even if one person, and you mentioned that to me, you say that even if there's one person who I can add value to through my podcast, I think I've done my job. I think that
Yeah.
is so, so, so true. That stems from being intentional. How intentional are you in your approach? Am I an intentional person? Am I leading with intentions? Have I entered into this podcast with an intention to touch somebody today, or just to spend 30 minutes, finish it off, wrap it up, and then push off? What is my
Yeah.
intention? The way my intentionality is the way my conversation will be, is the way my approach will be in a positive manner. And that is authenticity. Just being yourself, removing off all the masks, leading. The more you are open with your people, the more you create the psychological safe space, the more people will open up to you, the more you will know your people, and the better we can have a belongingness and inclusiveness in our teams. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you may have heard about the saying also, leadership is very lonely at the top.
Yeah.
Leadership is not lonely at the top. Why are you on the top all alone? You're not supposed to be all alone. You're supposed to be with your people.
Yeah.
So either we can be in front of them, either we be behind them, sometimes on the side of them, but we have to be around them. We have to be hand holding them at all point of time. How people look at it, well, that's their own perspective. That's how it is. But at the end of the day, when I put my head down on the pillow and I say that, how I led today, have I led with authenticity? I feel good. And if I've understood that not to do with authenticity, I want to know that what can I learn from it? How can I better myself tomorrow?
Often, when we talk about authenticity and the leaders, generally the name of Mr. Ratan Tata comes very often. And often people think about him or talk about him with that, in that sense that he was very authentic, and whatever he has done with that conviction that how he can contribute to the society, how he can help the people in whichever way is possible. Like there are many incidents, like the incident, the terrorist attack which happened in Taj Hotel, and then how he supported all the people with respect to that. And there are many, many examples with respect to that. But in case somebody is authentic, does it create some problem for the leaders? Does it create some challenges for them? Like you also talked about your father, also that you thought that he was a bit egoistic type, but people think that he is living with a very high value life. But does it create some problem? Does it create some challenges if we are uh, leading from the front, or if we are saying what is right and what is wrong, or how it is? What is your opinion? What is your experience so far?
Oh, yes, 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 absolutely. I mean, there is so many challenges that come by just being authentic itself. So many. And like I said, only 18% of people felt that, authentic leaders are there. So then what about the remaining 78% of people, 72? Imagine them. So those are all the challenges on the other side. So it's really not very well accepted at any point of given of time. Sometimes it happens. But that's when we have to ask ourselves our questions. You know, am I doing the right thing? These are my values, these are my beliefs. Do I start compromising on them just to satisfy somebody else? Or do I want to create a value in somebody, even if that is that one person, who can actually
Mhm.
add value to another person? And that's how we create better people, that's how we create better behaviors, that's how we create better human beings. At the end of the day, we all are humans, we all have emotions, and we all have to respect those emotions. So the challenges are definitely going to be there. And like at the very beginning I said, that we cannot guarantee that authenticity will bring you success, and that's where you come from. But lack
Yeah.
of authenticity, to an extent, I can guarantee it will bring failure. Today, tomorrow, day after, sooner or later, it will come. But then, what am I from inside? What is my values? What is my behavior? What is my behaviors? Do I want to compromise? It's a question that we need to ask ourselves. So very self-reflecting question, actually.
Yeah. 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 In fact, sometime back when we were talking about public speaking, and we were talking about the challenges that people face when they are in front of people, then we were talking about it that majority of the people actually fear when they're coming on stage, but some admit and some don't admit. So you do you mean to say that if people were admitting that they fear, it means they are authentic?
Thank you so much for bringing that up. It's normally said that actually 85% of people are actually fear when they come in public space, when they come in front of the camera, Like even right now, honestly speaking, even I was a little bit anxious to be out here, and I mentioned that to you a little bit over with the introduction as well also. So if 85% are there, what about the remaining 15%?
15. Yeah, that's a question. Yeah.
That's a question, right? So the 15%
Yeah.
people are actually all lying.
Interesting. So it
It's
means everyone
actually
feel anxious.
everybody, even a monk who was going, and I heard that on a podcast, and it was so wonderful to hear that. Even a monk who's going to meditate is also a little bit anxious that I hope nobody comes and disturbs me while I'm meditating. And that is also anxiety. So all of us are anxiety is there. It's all part of our emotions, and we have to accept it. So the first
And
part
there's
about
nothing
authenticity,
accepting that. There's nothing wrong in
and
accepting that.
there's nothing wrong in that. That's how we all are. That's how we all are human beings. We are not, totally, enlightened God or something like that. We are all human beings. We have those emotions, and it's absolutely fine. The question is that, am I able to recognize that emotion? Am I aware of that emotion? What we call self awareness. And if I'm aware of it, I can manage it. And if I can manage it, then I can manage other people. And that's where my relationship management starts building up. But the first thing is that, am I aware of it? Or I want to discard it completely. That's great. If you want to discard it, no problem. But then how is that emotion going to trigger further down? It's going to trigger down into another stage and into another stage and into another stage. It's like anger, right? So somebody is angry, and if you've not understood that I am angry and you're not walking out from the stage and you're just increasing it up, it ends up into rage. And if you're not even aware of rage and where is it going, then rage can also move into kill.
Yeah.
So kill doesn't happen immediately, right? There is something that percolates it, which it starts increasing. But if I understand that I am angry at this point of time, I can control myself, take a deep breath, drink a glass of water, walk away from the situation, cool myself back, and then come back. But only if I'm aware of my emotion, only if I'm aware
Mhm.
of my anxious moments that I'm coming in into this podcast, and if I'm aware of it, accept it. No problem. This is how I am. It doesn't make me weak. And that
Yeah.
is authenticity. Weakness. People think if I remove my mask, people will see the weakness in me. All of us have weaknesses. There's no harm. But the sooner or later you speak about it, the sooner people say, "Oh, thank God he realized it now." You know. So before that, you actually voice it out. And I like what you
So
said about Ratan Tata and a lot of the other,
yeah.
a lot of the other amenities, Ratan Tata. And we have so many people. I know we have got a little bit short of time. I'll just mention this in 30 seconds. I do a program for a lot of campus to corporate and for a lot of other leaders as well also. And when I ask them to draw a canvas on a person, people that they feel about humility, or people who really influence you, two very striking names come out. One is Ratan Tata and one is Abdul Kalam. These two names always come out. Now, from there itself, you can understand that if people remember them, why do they remember them? They remember them because of how they have been leading through authenticity. And that is the key.
Mhm. Before we close, in case somebody has to check whether they are authentic or not in whatever they are doing, I'm not talking only about the leaders, anyone as an individual, if we have to see that whether we are authentic, so what are the different parameters which we can check internally in ourselves to see that whether we are authentic or yes, these are the areas where we need to work on ourselves.
I think the first thing is just to be yourself, harness a lot of self awareness. And I'll go to a framework which I had drawn out on heart, heart itself. And I mentioned it as like harness self awareness, embrace vulnerability. If you are hiding away from your weakness and don't want to share it with anybody, trust me, people have already seen it. So by you hiding it is not going to help. So embrace it, embrace vulnerability, share vulnerability. It builds a lot of trust. Act with a lot of integrity. Be your voice, keep with your values, keep with your behaviors. Resonate with a lot of empathy. That's the R. Resonate with a lot of empathy and transform through really meaningful connections. And when I say meaningful connections, do a lot of listening. Do a lot of listening, not to respond. Do a lot of listening to understand and then respond.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think, Agnello, we had a wonderful discussion with respect to authenticity. We talked about many aspects with respect to that. Like we talk about the self-awareness, we talk about gratitude, we talk about the values, and we talked about that how much we can be true to ourselves, and the more we are true to ourselves, the more authentic we are. And the idea is that if we are vulnerable, that does not mean that we are weak. It means that we are accepting that what is the present state, and then maybe we can work on improve ourselves further. Thank you very much. It was really a wonderful session. Thank you, Agnello.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Bhavya, for giving me this platform. All the best. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye bye. Bye.
Bye bye.